Hello, everybody. Back on the desk, Colorcaster, host extraordinaire, me, Mars Swan, joined by the ever lovely, incredible, and elusive Kashka. Hello, sir. We've got you again. We didn't lose you. We lost Nymara, but the Foxman, he does what he does.
I mean, sometimes things happen. But anyways, I'm back here for Game 2. It is going to be Sengoku versus Crest Gaming Act. And I'm excited. But that being said, Sengoku, they are coming off beating DFM. So
that is true. Yeah. Now, I mean, this was that was the match no one expected to go that way. I mean, when the predictions came, us three founders all went DFM. What were you DFM sided?
I mean, I didn't really have predictions for that match. I just thought it would be funny to drop all my Twitch points on Force Sengoku, and it paid off. So there's that.
Yes, you did do that, didn't you?
I did.
So actually, you had the biggest brain because you also benefited in the points department.
True.
Touché, sir. Touché. But where in this matchup of Sengoku facing off against Crest Gaming Act are your eyes drawn to? What kind of side of the map are you feeling a bit more?
I mean, it's got to be bot lane, right? We've got Honey versus Hybrid, and Honey, of course, stepping up for the team throughout last split. And Hybrid, kind of similar story, and especially from what we've seen already, has had a great performance on day one. Of course, don't want to, use one game to set a precedent. But either way, I am definitely looking at this bot lane to see which one of these two AD carries will be able to have the greater impact.
I mean, not only that, but like these are two players who have continuously just like kept raising the bar in a way, like Honey was having those crazy huge performances when he was a part of Axis, obviously having to be that main carry for the team, whereas obviously over time we've now seen that obviously Hybrid has stepped into that role, kind of replacing Gango obviously in 2020. Obviously Milan was the experiment in 2021. They're back in Academy. Hopefully we'll see them soon again. We'll definitely see them in Academy, which, ladies and gentlemen, we will be covering. But I mean, Hybrid's really performed rather well for this team. And it's not been fantastic always, but it's been a sight to see.
Definitely, especially if CGA are playing around the bot lane, which is the kind of big if going into this match, because Hybrid has had good games, but especially in spring, he's also had games where, let's be honest, couldn't really have much impact on the game, mostly because the team didn't play around him. And you look at the graphic, the damage share, I mean, they're both insanely high, and I feel like the reason Hybrid is slightly higher is just because he's the one core carry for the team.
Yeah, actually, the more you think about it, unless Kaito is on that Zoe,
true,
he's not getting that Zoe. Never getting that Zoe again. It's his. I hate to flame a player, but his Zoe is like tiers above some of his other champions we've seen him play. And it's genuinely more of a credit to how good he is on that Zoe. But like, yeah, you're right. Who would be the other carry? Whereas for Honey, he's got the #1 all-pro mid laner on his team of Jet.
And Jet has been putting in the work. That's just facts. He's had, I don't recall last time I saw him had a genuinely bad game. I don't recall.
He hasn't had a bad game since he came into the LJL. That's part of the point, right?
Yeah.
And then you look at the rest of the side of the map, like Honey actually has a lot more backup. Now, in credit where it's due, if Nap is going to start pulling out more champions like Olaf, if we're going to see this kind of more brawler, I'm going to get in your face, I'm going to fight you about everything, that might be where the secondary carry is. And we have seen a lot more Kales. We're seeing things like Fiora in the meta. We're seeing things like Camille. If Nap's got that in his wheelhouse, which, by the way, would actually be like every style of top lane champion for Nap at that point. Like, he's played the cheese stuff like Cho'Gath before and other things. If he does that as well, where's the limit to this guy?
I mean, you have to kind of put that to the question, of course. Just one Olaf game. but it was a
Just
good
one.
Olaf game.
It's just
it
one,
was a
yeah.
good one.
Was a very good
something
one.
something to keep in mind indeed as we are moving into this matchup, and kind of looking maybe more at the teams holistically, how they're stacking up. Of course, Sengoku coming into this split, a lot of people definitely expecting them to be in the top two, and some people even saying they're the favorites to win the split, kind of backing it up by the statement from DFM. I want to see this team, if they are indeed the potential #1 team, they need to show some good League of Legends today.
Absolutely, and I think this just kind of echoes for all of these top 3 teams that everybody is expecting. Like Detonation Focus Me, Sengoku Gaming, and Rascal Jester. They are the tier above everybody else. Now, this is actually fantastic for the region. I'm going to take us on a slight tangent as the official stream is still on their main desk. So I'm going to take a slight 30-second tangent here. That'd be a very long tangent. That'd be podcast tangent worthy. By the way, go check out our podcast. Who knows? Kashka might have guest appear at some point soon.
Maybe.
Maybe. Hopefully, actually. Not maybe. Hopefully one day soon. But with that said, this is great for the region because it means if you have 3 top teams that everybody else is struggling to beat, that means those teams will eventually get good enough to then beat those teams, which then overall raises the level of play. It's not a bad thing to have multiple teams stomping down on lower teams. Those lower teams eventually have to get better. Like that's just a fact, or they're going to, or they're going to be absolutely nothing, and it's going to kill the region. Like that is the other side of that coin. But how often does that actually happen in sport? Very rarely, because people want to try, they want to win. So I'm very excited to see how this experiment is going to go. But with that said, CGA are kind of fighting up. They're kind of a 4th, 5th, 6th team, depending on who you're talking to. Me, they're a 5th place team. My co-founders, they're a 6th place team. Kashka, where is CGA on that power ranking for you?
I think I'd put them on the 5th, honestly.
Okay, you join me.
Yeah. At least right
Smart
now. We'll see, of course. And kind of to, keep going back to this game, CGA have got that bit of a reputation to just blue shell those top teams. And they're playing one right now. Well, not right now, in a few minutes. But they are a team that can lose against V3, can win against DFM. I would not be surprised if I saw both of these results in this split, to be completely honest. And so I kind of want to see how Sengoku approach this. Are they going to draft cautiously? Are they going to really, make sure they're playing a comp that they're comfortable with and not going for experimental stuff? Because let's be honest, it's day 2. Teams still have a lot of time to figure things out.
That's actually a very good point. They still do. But just because they have things to work out doesn't mean you don't want to just stop seeing experimentation coming out, obviously, for both these 2 teams. Like, that's where we could really see something very special coming out from one of these players. And something like that's where I want to see something from Kasin. We've seen them play hyper carries before from the jungle. Can we see that again? As that's actually one of the players they're going to highlight. And in that first matchup they had, which they won, Kasin was kind of their MVP, arguably.
Absolutely. I mean, you look at the stats; they kind of aren't lying there. And also,
he did play Monkey, so
he did play Monkey. That was what I was gonna go on to. Is that Wukong is a contested pick in this meta, depending on who's on the blue or red side, because it might not get his hands on it, and we might see it getting banned altogether. So, you know, arguably gonna see a different champion today, and can he repeat that sort of performance? That's the real question. Which, if the answer is yes, we're gonna look at Kasin as potentially the difference maker for this team that right now is kind of revolving around the hybrid.
But a very quick stat I want to just draw everybody's eyes to is the DPM. Kasim was first on his team, 437. Honey was second on his team with 700.
Is that on his team, or is that on his team or among the AD carries? I have to ask.
Oh.
Because I feel like that might be ranked in the role.
So then who's beating him in the AD carry role?
What? I mean, Hybrid had a good game yesterday, not 2 days ago. What is Hybrid? I don't know.
He did have a very good game. But I thought Honey carried more than any other AD carry. Maybe it wouldn't be Utapong. Obviously, he beat Utapong. Oh, it could have been Soul.
Wait. I don't know. I'm giving up.
As you can tell, Adrian, we're not sure, but I've just looked at my phone. It's pick and ban phase, Kashka.
Okay, let's go into the draft. We're going to have Sengoku taking the blue side, CGA taking the red, and there is a lot of jungle bans with the Graves, with the Tilly. Actually, still is jungler, I don't know, but still no Wukong, which was something that I brought up earlier.
That's a very good point, but we haven't quite got into that second rotation. So we'll see. Graves coming out, still prioritizing that onto Kassin. I guess he's just still performing really well on that champion in scrims, even though we're not seeing it at all in the local meta. But the fact that Sengoku, a team that are very, very proficient on a lot of stuff, they're going for it. But Monkey was left open. Zeri was the last ban, so AD carries have been targeted, but Monkey Bonk, as Jake had done for us all, hip rain, Monkey Bonk.
Indeed, and Once is going to get his hands on this champion, which already provides such a good baseline engage for the whole team. Now, Ezreal Trundle, not usually the first rotation I'm expecting on red side.
I mean, I'm not too surprised about seeing a jungle response. I think that's pretty standard. But the fact that we see Ezreal immediately locked in, kind of, I'm less of a fan. I would have rather have seen like a support come out, or even like a random top laner be just picked out. Prefer the support normally. I don't think Ezreal's really a champion you want to just randomly pick up here. But the response from Sengoku was going to be their own bot lane of that Kai'Sa and Nautilus.
Yeah, a lot of hard engage, a lot of damage. Kill thread lane used to be back in the day. I feel like nowadays it's less, oppressive, so to speak. And the response is going to be a brawl. So CGA just going full on safety in the bot lane.
I mean, they've told Paz don't draft Ornn. Like that is all I can really see from this draft. It's like we've got the Troll King to get rid of your tank stats, and then we've got Braum Shield to really get rid of it. All right, Freljordian front line. I'm really sad they didn't pick Ashe in that first rotation, because we would have really been on a really good theme here for Crest Gaming Act here. But hey, I guess Ezreal is the ultimate explorer, so maybe that's the angle they're doing. He's going up to Freljord. Are we going to see an Anivia? I mean, that would be an interesting pick here if this is the direction they want to go in. And I know it's a bit troll to keep going on this Freljordian kind of meme train, but legit, Anivia's a very strong champion at the moment.
And also to provide a lot of, kind of counter dive, so to say. You put up the wall, suddenly Nautilus doesn't have a very clean angle to engage. The Glacial Storm is going to slow down all those fairly short-range champions that Sengoku have. And if CGA just want to start the game, if that's the angle they're going for, then, I mean, by all means, not going to be Anivia, but...
No, not this pick, though.
Yeah, I'm not sold on this.
Okay.
We're gonna do it.
So... big sag for everybody here, because Nymera should have been casting this game.
Yep.
So that's a bit sag. But I'll do my best, even though I am not an RE player. I've got the Popstar skin, I've got the Chrome alteration, so it gets the Girls' Generation full skin line, so I get the full theme of it, but that's my extent with RE. Mid lane was heavily targeted in that second phase of banning, so a lot of mid laners were let through. Yasuo picked up here, and a Zakova? Sengoku?
Okay, I see what you're doing there, Sengoku. I don't hate it. Let's wait on the Zac cover. So Yasuo
this is for
very
Paz,
likely going
potentially.
to Jet. Yeah, I think we can agree that the Jet is most likely going for the Yasuo. Okay, we have a Gwen, a bit more of the normality, but still, Wukong Yasuo combo.
I mean, it works. You've also got the Nautilus, so it's not awful. You've got double enabler outside of yourself. I mean, this Gwen is kind of weird, but a lot of the pick that they do have from CGA's side is just ranged. It's just ranged, which Gwen's missed, if timed correctly by Paz, and we have seen it before, could be really good. But Lilia to end this off.
Is it going to be Lilia top or Lilia jungle, do you think?
It has to be Lilia jungle, and then we're sending this Trundle top, right?
I mean, you'd say that. I have seen some Lilia top lane recently. Admittedly, Platinum Solo Q isn't the,
I mean, maybe Plat Solo Q was showing you, mate. Look at this.
Okay.
If we get 20 seconds, if it's 20 seconds. Yep.
It's Lilia top. Okay. Go on. Do you know anything about this pick?
Mate, I wasn't meant to be casting this, but the
I
fact
know,
is, I
but-
was probably going to cast in like a week from now. So, Lilia top. It was a thing. I remember this being an actual thing back when Lilia actually first came out, because some of her stat lines were absolutely stupid. But this was not something I was expecting. I don't know, mate. Kashka, you tell me about Lilia top, please.
Okay, well, I want to see the rune when we get into the game, but most of the time I've seen
Okay.
Lilia top recently is Conqueror, Riftmaker, and basically it's a really strong duelist in the top lane. I don't know if you managed to beat Gwen, but you do actually win quite a lot of the 1v1 matchups. And then when you get into the team fights, of course, you have got all this sustain that the rune mythic combo will provide, and you have all the other utility of a Lilia. So honestly, I don't really hate it that much. I am looking at this comp though as a whole from CGA, and I am not entirely sure what their goal is. Because I can see Lilia top. I don't see how it fits in.
You know what? It's rare that I'm brought speechless in my life. In general, Kashka. It's very rare in my life, full stop. Okay, well, Crest gave me acting losing this game. I'm literally gonna say that out in minute 1. All right, it's Conqueror. So she is full duelist. What do you take of that, Kashka, huh?
I mean, okay, so bit of a background maybe behind the Olaf thing that we saw yesterday.
Sure.
In the interview post game, I was translated by Hina. Nap said that he just really wanted to play Olaf. Last time he played was 2017 promotion tournament, never since. Maybe there's a similar story to Lilia. Maybe it's just some secret OP comfort pick for Nap, and he's gonna pop off on it. That's the only thing I'll give you, as we have an early invade and the red buff reset. Well, that's
Right.
awkward.
CJ, this is where you just call your quits now.
I think they should, but Kassin is going to get hooked and ignite, and now taking all of damage down to the front side. I mean, the Braum passive not doing as much work as maybe CGA would have liked. Now, Honey is going to get stand up right in the front. Over the wall goes Hybrid for the first blood, but he's going to get hooked immediately after the heal. Is going to pop empty very low, but Jet and once in the pit will be able to take him down. Another flash over the wall. What the hell is going on? That is Honey teleporting in. Jet.
That's Honey.
He gets stunned up with the concussive blows, but the passive shield is going to keep him alive. Nemo the ignite. That's a level 1 ignite. I don't think he is dying. And 1-for-1. Kassin got the red buff. Dub for CGA?
CGA got first blood and they got the red buff. So yes, that's where I'm going to go with that. Honey dying obviously to that first blood, but he did get first back. So he's also getting the first wave. So experience might be favored Honey, which means Hybrid's going to be a step down. Summoners, this is a mess. This is like, I think these teams have been playing VCS teams and they don't understand how VCS works. Because if it was actual VCS, Paz would have been TPing onto that blue ward in the middle of the team. He would have just insta-done it. Didn't do it, which meant this fight didn't go brilliantly for the side of them. That Braum passive that you had mentioned moments before, actually proccing onto Honey, didn't have cleanse because he went for the TP, so it was a bit unfortunate for them. Obviously, this is not a summoner choice you make if you're expecting to duel level 1. This was Crest Gaming Act deciding to opt in for this fight, and as such, it actually turned out ultimately in their favor. The side of Sengoku weren't prepared for this. And hey, this is a great way to try and help get some early aggression, but you've got to use this momentum to turn into something else. Oh my god, Jet! What
you
the?
Almost got it. Unfortunately, was within tower range and had to evacuate ASAP. Now, Kassin, though, is sitting around this mid lane. We'll be looking for a way in. No summoners onto the Yasuo, but he is running very fast, and the pillar, unfortunately, pops him the wrong way.
It's nice when you get bonked a bit further away from the enemies by the enemies themselves. You do appreciate that. But as it stands, Kassin has currently done hasn't done a full clear. He did bot side, well, obviously red buff into most of his top side, which also with the level, it does help get him a fair decent amount. He is level 3, but once has joined him on that. And by the way, part of the reason for Wukong being such a great jungler, his clear time is like one of the top ones that isn't a champion like Udia at the moment. Udia apparently actually is the fastest clear at the moment, but who wants to play that champion outside of middle cot?
I thought he's an Oriana player. But fair enough. That's a good point.
That was
Definitely
good,
take
mate.
that.
I like that.
Kasin is going to go for a gank on towards Paz. That will be a kill, and Nap finally on the board. All right, well, CGA are definitely making plays this game. They are just being super proactive against Sengoku right now. What is going on?
Yeah, I mean, that saw the vision. That was all on vision by Kasin, and it still worked out. That was just Paz not really respecting Pillar more than anything else. And I mean, Nap played that really well as well. Good job, CGA. I don't really feel like I need a replay for this. Look at this, Paz. He's on vision. He's still on vision. Why are we replaying a vision play? Okay. I mean, Nap did flash forward, I guess, but I mean, this is just... They did what they needed to do.
It was also a bit of a lose-lose situation because the state of the wave that it was in, if Paz didn't walk forward, then Kasin would literally just stay there and make sure it freezes. So it was a lose-lose. I guess Paz took the option that was a bit more risky and, well, ended up losing anyways.
Kaito and Jet just smacking one another at the moment. Kaito, so far, the first 5 minutes of this laning phase, outside of getting smacked down to half your health and then Kasin coming in to bonk Jet away, it's been not too bad. And the fact is, CGA definitely playing with this arguably early game tempo swing in their favor of that first blood, also securing that dragon, which is really going to help them if they can keep finding a few of these random objectives. One Herald's turn coming up very shortly, and if they might prepare to try and do that as it spawns.
Yeah, using the advantages they got from the early game to just keep the tempo moving forward, and got themselves the first dragon. Can't really complain. The top lane is also going the way of CGA right now, with Nap having control over the wave, it feels like. Though, actually, you know what? I think Paz is just happy keeping it here. Yeah, never mind. Top lane is frozen, so not much to be said here. But Herald up in the minute. I want to see if Nema and or Hybrid are going to indeed rotate up to try and secure it, if that's something that CGA want to do.
Yeah, actually, I think that's a really good way of doing that. I mean, they are backing at this moment in time. Herald is coming up in a minute, so I wouldn't be too surprised if we see something like Hybrid running bot and we see Nemo running mid. And actually, that's exactly what's happening. They're preparing for this. I will be very surprised to see if Hybrid does commit to this. I think this is going to be a 4-1 split. Oh my god, chat. Okay, this is why he got number one. Just Kaito used like all of his summoners just then to, well, not summoners, all of his spells just to into a windmill. Just feels bad, man.
Jed is good, everyone. In case it's your first time watching LJL, that's the first thing I want to tell you. Jed is good.
Only profound, bold statements here on the LJL OU.
Exactly. We like to be controversial.
You know what? Another one? Kasin
okay, go for it.
Gank. God, Kasin, why?
I mean,
why?
It almost worked there. Unfortunately, Paz used a very smart move of standing so incredibly still, he becomes invisible to the human eye. So, yeah.
Nap. Sleep. No? Okay, alright. I don't feel like this works so well. I feel like you're better at doing this straight edge caster calling thing. Maybe it's a play-by-play thing. Maybe I don't understand it as a host into color caster. Need to learn your magic, mate.
I mean, I don't really know what the technique is, so I couldn't help even if I tried. Well, let's try another one. CGA, Herald. Okay, I mean, it doesn't work because it's literally happening right now. But yeah, CGA will take the Herald, uncontested. Of course, the thing with Heralds is their value depends on how you use them. So yeah, they got it. Great job. Now you actually need to get value out of it.
I do, absolutely. And at the moment, it looks like the side of Sengoku playing like with a card from Magic the Gathering known as Fact or Fiction. Which side of this coin, Crest Gaming Act, do you want to play with? You went for the Herald, and as such, we will put a lot of pressure into your bot side, meaning they are going to get this tower down at least a little bit of damage. But will that equal into more? Crest Gaming Act deciding... No, it's not. They went for just one side of the play. They didn't try and go for all of the monkey's paw, which I agree is probably not the correct play, Crest Gaming Act. Though it would have been cool. I would have been here for the plays.
I'm always here for the play, so I agree with you on that. But the solo play going the way of Honey, blue buff stolen by once, pretty good return value in terms of immediate gain, going the way of Sengoku here. The dragon is going to be up in 1 minute and 30, so we'll see if the bot lane status quo switches, because so far Hybrid and Nema having the priority, able to roam first, apart from that last play where Hybrid was left alone in the lane, they've had control. So we'll see if that changes up and if Sengoku will be able to take the dragon themselves.
We will absolutely. Outside of that, everything's kind of gone back to parity again. I would argue that the early game that was very heavily obviously set by CGA, outside of getting that Herald and that first dragon, we haven't really seen them do much more. They got those early kills and then it kind of hasn't been for much. Kassin hasn't found an angle really since then, and every lane is quietly just farming up. I mean, obviously Jet has got a 10 CS lead now in this mid lane, and you can start feeling that Kaito is struggling to deal with Jet's ceaseless aggression onto him.
Yeah, that's one way to put it. Of course, Kaito unable to have much of an impact on the map yet. When it comes to those fights around the next dragon, potentially maybe the next Herald, we'll hopefully see some more good things out of the mid laner of CGA, of course, if they want to find further success. But the dragon is going to be spawning, and CGA full control of the river as we speak, once in the topside jungle, not immediately concerned with the objective.
No, I mean, looks like Once actually probably just wants to try and do a bit of a clear. Honey is going to be the target here for a gank, but I mean, just a little bit too heads up. NT going, hey, I'm going to walk away a little bit. The rest of the team are like, hey, maybe they're going to rotate and try and take this dragon. They're going to see that with the blue little orb of power, vision. A lot of gold just injected, though, into Hybrid, thankfully, with that Rift Herald. So we'll see if CJ can get more going here, but it seems like just the presence of Once is just a bit too much. Scuttle Crab is definitely going to be the fight, though. You can just... Oh, no. Really?
Nope.
Really,
Jet has the
Kassin?
roam. Jet has the roam. I don't think you get to stay here if you're Kassin, because Cyclone into last bet, you're dead, and Jet has the second kill. That's not somewhere where CGA want to go. So, yeah, they just give up this Scuttle. They are looking to give up this Drake as well in that same way.
Well, priority in mid. This is why... I mean, I think that's a fantastic example for where that first turret in the mid lane, knocking it down, really important. You mentioned, obviously, that Jet had priority to just move first. That's basically how they got that dragon. It is going to be an Ocean Soul. I do think CGA benefit a lot more from an Ocean Soul, but whether they're going to be allowed to actually get it, I think that's going to be a bit of a different story here, Kashka. I don't actually think they're really going to have a great angle in a lot of these team fights, because it's like, okay, we do a front to back, yeah? Braum Shield has to be perfect, realistically. And even then, what does a perfect Braum Shield really look like against a team that has a Yasuo, that has a Gwen, like, which has a Wukong? Like, this is a really weird team fight. You're going to have to try and angle things correctly for the side of Crest Gaming Act, whereas Sengoku can kind of attack from literally every angle. So I'm a little bit worried. I do think the Troll King is going to be very important, and we're going to have to watch, obviously, Kassin and Nap, obviously, for how those team fights are going to go, and see if Hybrid and Kaito are allowed to output lots of damage throughout these team fights.
Yeah, that's actually a very good point that you brought up there, especially with the angle of approach to the team fight. That's going to be something to watch, because Sengoku, they can go in every which way they want. Once goes in, great. NT can go in as well. Pass if he finds a flank, that works out. Whereas you look at CGA, you're kind of just running forward. That's true for Nap, Kassin, Kaito. I mean, Nemo isn't going to be engaging, hopefully, on the Braum, so it's
but he
kind of
might
very
have to be,
telegraphed.
though, right? Like, if they
That's
find a
also
charm,
true.
he might just have to be like, all right, I'm going to just jump, throw the ult down, and hope that we can find something.
Yeah, when you have to engage on Braum, things aren't looking great.
but like that's an issue, right? Because they would much rather obviously just have a Lilia ball just hit 2 or 3 of the enemy team and then just sleepy time them and then figure it out afterwards. The thing is, that's not going to be a great option for them. The thing that I want to just highlight is Honey's getting collapsed on.
Absolutely is. Andy is there to respond, and Hybrid taking the hard aggro. Oh no, it's turning into a disaster, and Honey will be able to take down them. Hybrid still has the flash to get away, and Jet is on his way. I believe the Nautilus hook procs the knockup for the Yasuo. I want to say, let's see if I'm correct. No, I'm not. Never mind.
It does.
Oh no, I am. Yeah, Hybrid is just going to die to Jet. And I'm getting ganked in the top lane.
Oh!
Okay, once is gonna go in for the flash. Doesn't quite land the damage there, but oh boy, was it close.
Yeah, and because of the Cyclone giving that additional movement speed with the flash and everything, it was an option which forced Fnap to flash response as well. I would argue that Lilia flash is a lot more valuable at this moment in time for the side of Crest Gaming Act compared to Once's flash, because he doesn't need to be that soul engaged. As you would mention, the knock-up put the hook just from the Nautilus will help proc for Jet, which means they've got so many angles, and oh, they're back again for a fight.
I don't think CGA want to take this one. This game is swinging firmly into Sengoku's grasp, and they're not gonna let it go.
And he's coming up.
Fight.
He's far.
Yeah, I mean, everyone is coming up. No one is in the bot side jungle as of right now. Now Kaito will, of course, go down to the bot lane to pick up the wave, and Mythics. They've been picked up across the board. Nothing really too surprising here. Honestly,
nope, everything's standard. Yeah. I mean, the only weirder one
Lilia
could be arguably Lilia, but I mean, let's not really talk about top Lilia. I don't think that's really a thing I want to talk about. But this is something Honey played this really well. Remember, they exhausted him at the very beginning of this fight, and the thing is, you can definitely go NT's Scooby senses were definitely on it for this one. Immediately hooking Kaito. Kaito was also tanking turret, which is just like worst case scenario. Nemo not getting the turret aggro immediately, which then also forcing the auto attack from NT, which Kaito was able to flash away from. But because of that, Hybrid ends up dying. I meant Hybrid flashing away, which then actually was like to NT. He's like, well, I just wait, try and land this hook. Lands the hook. Didn't get the arcane shift buffer, which then turned into the kill. And Sengoku Gaming just showing, hey, don't dive Honey. Don't dive our all-star player that has defined a regional meta once before, similar to a few of those before them. And they just want to keep going. I love this from Sengoku Gaming.
They found their spot in the game where they actually have got the control. They regained the tempo lost at level 1, and now, as you said, they just keep on fighting. There is the Hex Flash of it all into the double knockout, and Jet's last breath is going to decimate 2 members of CGA. Talking about Jet, he's stunned up under the turret, will be traded back. 2 for 1, still going the way of Sengoku, but they did lose some of that tempo they had early on in the fight.
Yes, and I mean, Jet going a little bit deep on that play, did tank some turret aggro, which wasn't the plan. But one thing I would love to highlight quickly while we've got just this brief reprieve before probably a dragon fight kicks in. Paz with the mist on Gwen basically removed all of the damage from CGA in that team fight, which ultimately leads into potentially a fight. You guys did have numbers advantage. We could have gone for this. Once was alive. Not
definitely curious.
Sure about this non-dragon take, but what happens is this all starts from NT jumping over, which Honey immediately understands and goes in, but this is the shade I want to talk about. Paz immediately causing so many issues with this, and this is where they should pull away. The issue was Jet had already gone forward with the flash and didn't land the knock-up, which then meant he couldn't ult, and as such, the team decided they didn't want to go for any other plays afterwards. Bit disappointing, but still, you can tell that the pieces are still there for Sengoku Gaming, and they're just trying to tweak it so everything works perfectly, because that wasn't perfect from them. But there's a lot of great ideas from them there.
Agreed. I especially like, the confidence with which they went in. Hex Flash over the wall, Honey immediately going in, everyone just piles onto the fight. Clearly this team is on the same page from the get-go, and now just make sure that Jet isn't overextending randomly, and you are basically set. Top lane turret is going to be taken down. 2,000 is the gold lead that Sengoku are sitting on right now. By no means anything huge, but we are talking as if Sengoku, well, have the lead, because of course they have, as if they are in the better position. So how can CGA really put this back in their favor? Like, what kind of fights, plays, rotations are they looking for that will mean they actually have control over this game?
I mean, they just need to find some really clutch hooks. They need to, well, not clutch hooks, clutch charms. They need to also find a few angles that a team fight can actually go their way. The fact is, and this was really brought up earlier, and this was something that they did in that last team fight, is Sengoku can play any kind of side of a team fight. If they don't like the angle that the team fight's being presented to them, they'll just switch it up and just go for one which does work. That Nautilus Hex Tech flash over the wall, that was an angle which they actually wanted, so they could all go for it because their follow-up is really good. They've got multiple dashes, they've got an ult on their AD carry, which means they can get pretty much anywhere. The only one who doesn't have that repositioning tool is Enti, who's their primary engager in a lot of senses. So the whole team kind of plays around the idea of what NT can do for them. But if they need to, Watts can be the engage. If they need to, Paz can just run at them with a ghost and a dash and the mist. Like, Sengoku have a lot of angles, and Crest Gaming needs to just try and find an angle which works for them, which Sengoku opt in for more than anything else, because that's now all the outer turrets for Sengoku Gaming.
And that means control over the jungle just became that much more easier. You can already see how many wards there are in the top side, and Baron buff damage, it's pretty good with a 2-item Kaiser, of course a Yasuo on your team, and Paz on that Gwen. This is gonna go down pretty damn quickly.
And as you already mentioned, the mythics are all coming in. I mean, once had just gone back, he spent more money getting that vision, as well as is also NT. So when you see a team like Sengoku Gaming doing slightly earlier backs just because they're like, hey, I mean, we can get our jungler, he can go get some vision, he can get an item, he can go, we'll also do that with our support, who's now going to throw out a bunch of vision down. They're going to clear out all of the vision from Crest Gaming Act, and then they're going to have to respond for this. And the thing is, you know what this is doing for Sengoku. They're just like, okay, well, we got all the outer turrets. We're going to just try and get things into a half-decent spot for us. We'll then throw vision down when it's preferable towards us, as they're already doing very deep vision over into the side of Crest Gaming Axe jungle. And we can just reset again if we want to. We can get our vision because we don't care about anything as long as we just keep clearing these waves, making sure the gold stays at least in our favor. By the way, it's slowly climbing in their favor now. And we'll secure this dragon. And then who knows? Maybe we'll play around Baron. We're not sure. They just question mark ping the Baron going, hey, this is a thing we don't have vision on at the moment. Do you think they could be doing this? Clearly the answer was no, from probably Jet, who's been running back and forth between the top lane and mid lane, just kind of hovering in both.
Yeah, making sure you do not give up any map control if you are Sengoku, and it's that kind of patient play that I really enjoy from them when it comes out. The fact that they're not committing for fights which they don't want to take, they're not, you know, doing stupid things, to be blunt. And now with the dragon up in 20 seconds,
but
let's see how the setup's gonna go.
Because they're just suffocating Nap and Kassin and all of their carries. Like, Kassin is really getting the worst out of all of this. But Sengoku were just like, nah, we're just going to keep taking everything. We're going to get more resources than you. We're just making these waves crash. They're playing their side lanes a lot better than Crest Gaming Act are. They're picking up a lot more CS, and you can just see that through things like Honey's small advantage. You can see that through Nap's small advantage and Jet as well. They're finding more angles, and hey, they want this dragon. They're going to find it.
And he is going to go in, and Jet with a 4-man last breath is going to cut through CGA, and Kaido and Kassin are the last ones alive. Jet dashing forward yet again, and that is going to surely be the ace for Sengoku.
NT died so that Sengoku could live. What a performance from that Nautilus, who basically landed a point-blank ultimate onto multiple members, which in turn allowed Jet to have that MVP performance. By the way, Honey was in the backline for most of that team fight. We're going to watch this in the replay as they secure this Baron, but I want to just have your eyes on NT for the very beginning. Look at this. lands it. He's like, all right, we're just going for it. Because of that, he goes for it. Jet goes for it. Look at Honey here. Dives straight back into the back line. He's like, no, Hybrid, you're not getting away from me. Basically versus 2 other members for that team fights while the rest of the team are just cleaning up. And then they get to come in and save Honey, go, mate, don't worry, we got you. Come in, and now they're going to just rotate around immediately. They get that they were going to get that dragon from Nap. He did ping on it, but he was like, actually, I'm going to come and help you guys get Baron, and then we'll get the dragon afterwards. So much gold, and look at that damage, 4k from Paz.
I mean, the unsung hero of that fight. Yeah, clearly, he just was, been DPSing.
Well, he did all the damage onto the tanks. That's partly where that went, because you have to think about it. Honey and Jet just killed their carries instantly.
I mean, Sengoku, the way they play League of Legends is just so kind of terrifying almost. I kind of came up with an analogy. It's like Sengoku are the best Monopoly team in LJL. And it's because if you're playing Monopoly and if you're winning, right, there is that point of time, like a good couple of turns where nothing is happening. Like you're stacking up all your properties and then someone lands on the spot and then you start laughing. And that just feels like how Sengoku are playing this game. Like they don't do anything for a while and then one mistake and they get an ace.
Yeah, that's kind of how that last team fight went. NT was just sitting in the brush. Then Crest came along, landed on Boulevard Street or whatever it is, and yeah, well, all the money was theirs suddenly. Sengoku, this is a pincer movement, but what's fantastic about this is they're like, hey, we'll just have Paz escort mid lane. Oh, you all want to come and secure and save your mid lane? Oh, don't worry, we'll then come and get your top lane again. We'll just push and pull. Like they don't actually have to do anything stupid if they don't need to. Sengoku understand they've got all of the priority. They've got an 11k gold lead, by the way, 4.6k gold already, well, 4.8k gold already from this Baron play, and it's only getting worse for the side of Crest Gaming Act.
Definitely ain't getting better. And the dragon is up if Sengoku won't.
No, dragon's dead. That's a bug. Sengoku took it ages ago.
Yeah, I did get baited. I was gonna say, I feel like 4 dragons is a bit more than I recalled last time.
Yeah, the timer would also be like, wow, that is dragon taking the moment it revives up, which, I mean, in all credit, that is what Crest Gaming Act did do with the very early one. It basically on spawn did kill it, but because of this Baron, 5k Baron buff, the only ones we've seen slightly better have basically been ending off of Baron immediately, which is extremely hard to do, as we all know.
Yes, but we look at all the item completions now. 3 items plus a QSS for Honey, so even if you land a charm onto the Kaiser, just escape. He can just be like, no thank you, and to walk his way to fully completed items for Jet. I mean, he hasn't recalled for a while, so I wonder how much gold he's sitting on. And we've got the Death Stance for once, Paz got the Nashor's Tooth. It's getting to the point where we're looking at the fight and it's wallet diff.
NT went for a Zhonya.
I love that.
I adore that. That is just going, I will be in the front line, I will do the thing, and hopefully I don't get CC chained so I can press my button. But if I do, that is not the worst thing in the world that can happen. If everything gets used on me and I don't get to use my Zhonya, it's kind of a consolation prize. You're like, if I get to Zhonya, awesome. Their team's gonna mess up even more. If I don't, I've died so that my team can win the game. So that's also awesome. Like it works both ways, really, considering the amount of items, because Chet's got a force of nature.
Look, if you're ahead, you build defensive. That's a great rule of League of Legends, because now not only does Jet kill everyone on CGA, most people can't kill him. I mean, we're looking at Hybrid and Kassin, who, let's be honest, haven't had that much of an impact in this game.
Well, I mean, also Hybrid, a bit of his damage will be coming through as AP. Kaito is AP, Nap is AP, Kassin is Troll, and Nemo is
AP damage.
No. No. I need to do this correctly. Okay. I've messed up. I was on my timeline, and another caster has recently, who's doing the Wild Rift World Championships at the moment. Kang. Kang is also in the bot lane at the moment. Kang casts. There we go.
Cool. Dragon up in 9 seconds, and Sengoku are understandably
Kangas! Oh my god, I'm even more stupid. Oh, just report me, Kashko, it's fine.
Like it's yeah, okay, sure, fair enough. That is going to be the sole point for Sengoku. Although at this point, it's kind of just a formality. It feels like because they have the fourth item for Honey. It's yeah, it's looking pretty tough for CGA to bring it back. I mean, kudos to Hybrid, staying even in CS, still making sure he's farming up 3 items on Ezreal. He will be hurting. I feel like my biggest problem is, will you have the damage to lay the DPS? And oh, that's just a beautiful nado from Jet. Nemo is going to be left to die, although actually he is running away and he might just be able to get out. No one is going to die from CGA. Let's see if they're going to go for the re-engage. Kaito was looking for the Aerofrost, now dashing forward. Hanny is low and he is golden. He is going to die, and Nab just running around on the Lillian, not taking any damage at all. Once goes over the wall, but look at Paz. He's taking the inhibitor. CJ might be winning the fight, but that's a 5v4 and your base is falling in shambles.
Yeah, it really is. Like, that's a second inhibitor. Your mid turret as well is pretty low, and Paz is kind of slippery on this Gwen. Like, he's actually going for the fight.
Something done.
Fair enough.
He is level 17. Out levels everyone by at least 2, but it is a 4 versus 1 at the end of the day. Will be Hybrid cashing in on a shutdown, but Sengoku do the Baron. You can't win a trade against these guys. You take one thing, Sengoku are going to get another. That is going to be the Baron buff.
The wind wall as well from Jet. Just no, not interested. Hybrid, stop. Bad. Oh, that was so clean. That was like split-second reaction. But how this fight began out was actually Sengoku wanting this, going for that ultimate from Jet to try and go wind beyond lightning. We'll find it all, but didn't find much. And actually, because you indented into this fight without Paz, who, by the way, in that last team fight, remember, Kashka, he dealt the most amount of damage, didn't he? So, we're doing that without the most damaged guy, who, by the way, at this whole time is just taking the tower, taking the inhibitor, causing more issues to the side of them. In actuality, losing your bot inhibitor before a dragon fight as well, not ideal. That means your team's going to be pulled into your base as opposed to actually being on the bot lane. But at the same time, you've got your top lane, which is also forcing you, which just makes dragon fights really awkward because you're never going to have lanes set up. But man, Jet's great to watch on Yasuo. I was not sold on this pick when he locked it in, but I mean, I've just had fun with this.
It just works. Kaito was looking for a bit of engage on the side, but Jet yet again off the top of once, dashing in for the last breath, and that is going to be the cleanup. Sengoku running over CGA. Clean ace to finish things off with a triple kill for Hani, and Sengoku take 2-0 to start off this split. A win against CGA in a fashion that I think none of us are surprised. Sengoku, take the win.
Well done to Sengoku Gaming. 31 minutes. 32 minutes with the victory stream popping up. Second Baron. They got that economy Baron, and it worked rather beautifully for them. And yeah, the game could have gone a little bit better in their favor, but as it is, I'm pretty happy with how that game went. Sengoku won. Like, what more can you really say? CJ had a decent idea of what they wanted to do in the early game to try and kind of throw Sengoku off, but after 10 minutes, it seemed like Sengoku had already gained their footing and they were back in that game.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, just kind of ignoring the level 1, knowing what you want to do, setting up around the fights, and I mean, NT's engages. Like, I really need to give props to that. Of course, once as well, contributing with the Cyclones, but the whole team working as a unit, working as intended, and this is what we want to see from a team that is in question for the best team in LJL.
Well, I mean, they already beat the undisputed MVP 13 title win team that is Detonation Focus Me. Sengoku have never won the LJL. They have their asterisk around 2020 on the unofficial broadcast here. They have that little asterisk for them, but because of how patch changes and everything else. But I mean, this could maybe be their year. And for Paz to be one of the first players to also do it on multiple teams to go international, that kind of just really throws up his resume into the talks of just how solid he has been on so many rosters. But Jet's incredible. Honey had arguably the MVP caliber performance for the whole region last year, and now actually getting a team which is kind of not a lower team that's struggling to punch up. He's now on arguably, or maybe Kashka, the top team. So Sengoku looked great, but there was a lot of good to take away from Crest Gaming Act in that game.
Absolutely. Let's get back to Earth. It is the second day at the end of the day, I guess. Yeah. And CGA, definitely, I liked the level 1. I liked some of the plays that they were going on, especially with the Helltran final Hybrid. And Hybrid still was able to stay relevant in this game. I feel like the problem wasn't his performance. It's just Ezreal in that team fight. Good luck trying to play the champion. Honestly, you're not really hitting anyone. So I feel like that's more of what the problem was.
Yeah, they didn't need to R1 it.
Yeah.
And then with the Trundle, honestly, the Trundle wasn't a bad pick, but like we didn't really see Kassin getting many picks of anything. Early level, it was an okay. Like they had an idea in the top lane, and then that was it. It felt like they were looking for more. Honestly, I want to see Kassin just on his hyper carries every single game, and then just be the backup plan, and then hopefully we can find something. We're not mentioning the Lilia top, are we, Kashka, though?
I didn't really do anything, did it?
No.
Just nah.
Nah, but sometimes that happens, right? You make a pick like that, sometimes it pays off, like the Olaf last game. Sometimes you play Lilia top, and it doesn't work. Forgive me for not being too surprised.
I mean, you know what? I can't blame you. I was looking forward to what it would be able to do, but the game happened. Maybe Nap finds a way to make it work down the split, but who knows?
Yes, absolutely. But Kashka, how's your first day been on the broadcast? It wasn't perfect that first game. We definitely got Berlin interneted a little bit, but how's it been for you? Honestly,
the games have been great. I especially enjoyed, the first game, seeing Hawks actually play a clean game of, somewhat clean game of League of Legends, and then Sengoku coming back into the form. It's kind of what I expected, getting us off to an interesting start of the split.
It absolutely did, and it's been a pleasure to have you back, sir. However, we are going to have to say goodbye to you, and I will be welcoming Initialize, assuming Berlin Internet. I can't play by Playcast, so who knows? We might have you back again, Kashka, if you're around. We don't know. Hopefully, though, we can get Initialize in. It'd be lovely to have him on the broadcast, and he'll be joined with Temporal. So, ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. DFM V3, Rascal Jester Axis. It's gonna be bangers, I'm sure.